Evening, everybody. It's now 7 o'clock, and we are going to be opening the regular meeting of the Daly City Council this Monday, September 11th, 2023. Just to announce, to watch this live telecast or live stream, you can go either on Comcast Channel 27 or on YouTube at Daly City Video Meetings or on the web at www.dalycity.org/agendas. There are also two ways to submit public comment. Number one is to submit written comments by the meeting day, and second, to attend the meeting in person. Before we actually get to the meeting, we're going to open our meeting in a very special way this evening by having our color guard start us off in honor of 911. Gentlemen.
Prepare to post colors. Ready? Post. Brief cover. Present. Arms.
All right, let's start off. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Ready? Please. Forward. March.
All right, please be seated. Give her a round of applause. Thank you. All right, can we get a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Present.
Dr. Rod,
Present.
Ms. Manalo,
Present.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, present.
Mr. Buenaventura.
I am present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we have several presentations this evening that we're going to start off our meeting with. And it's appropriate to start off with the first one, which is a proclamation of Patriot Day, September 11th. To receive the proclamation this evening will be Fire Chief Myers and also Acting Police Chief Christensen. Let me first read the proclamation in its entirety, and then I will ask both gentlemen to appear up front to accept both proclamations. The proclamation states Patriot Day, September 11th. 22 years ago, the United States endured one of the most unconscionable tragedies in our country's history due to terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and hijacked flights, cutting short the lives of 2,977 innocent people. On September 11th, 2001, these attacks tore a hole in the heart of our nation. The pain of this tragedy still remains, and each year on this somber date, we remember the horror and bravery shown that day, just as we remember how we became together, united in grief and in purpose. And each year, we renew our solemn vow to never forget what happened on September 11, 2001, or those who lost their lives. Ordinary Americans performed extraordinary acts of heroism when firefighters and police officers rushed into crumbling buildings and raging fires to save others while EMTs, construction workers, colleagues, and strangers tended to the wounded, passengers, and crew members gave their lives to thwart another attack, and a generation of women and men answered the call of duty by joining our armed forces to defend our freedom and our democracy. Over the last 2 decades, the American people have demonstrated that the harder the circumstances, the more resilient and stronger we become. Our shared love of country, our shared values, regardless of race, gender, religious, origin, or economic status, unite us as Americans against all enemies, foreign and domestic. On this Patriot Day, we continue to move forward as one nation, united by our common goal of liberty and justice for all, and we remember those killed on September 11th, 2001, and honor them through acts of service. And in their spirit, let us resolve to move forward together and rededicate ourselves to the ideals that define our union as we work together to strengthen our communities and better our world. Now, therefore, I, Ray Buenaventura, Mayor of the City of Daly City, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2023 as Patriot Day and call upon the people of Daly City and across the United States to participate in community service in honor of those our nation lost. To observe this day with the appropriate ceremonies and activities, including remembrance services, and to observe a moment of silence to honor the victims who perished as a result of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. Let's take that moment of silence now. All right, thank you. So can I have Chief Myers and Acting Police Chief Christensen, please join me up front. All right, here we go. Here you go, sir. Thank you very much for accepting. Here you go, sir. Thank you very much for accepting.
Appreciate it.
You guys,
You guys want to come on in?
thank you for coming up. Appreciate it. Appreciate your service. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's take a picture.
You want to try and stand? This will work. No, those are okay.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
great.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, please, take the podium and say a few words. Both of you.
I think we all remember where we were that day, and I recall the feeling of not knowing what was going to happen next and what we might be facing all across this country. And we made it through. I do want to thank you, Mayor, and the council for continuing to remember the significance of this event in history. And thank you for all your support to the emergency services within this city and elsewhere.
I too would like to thank you. I do remember where I was that day. I was in the police academy, just finishing up. Graduated a month after and started my police career and have served ever since. So very memorable time in our life. I do appreciate the commitment of the council to recognize and support those that gave their lives before us, and stand committed to say that you have people that will continue to support the safety of this community and provide services to carry on that legacy. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Wait. All right. Let me also, before we end this item, I'm sure our council members have some things to say. Let me start with the Vice Mayor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I will never also forget that time. You know, I was in college during that time, and seeing what had transpired across the nation, it was something I'll never forget. And to all those who lost their lives and gave their lives for our really just, it just shows how humanity at its finest. And really, to all of those that do that on the daily, our police, our fire personnel, thank you for that. And as we may never forget those that we lost during 9/11, and that may we continue to remember them in service. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Manalo. Would like to go next? Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to begin by saying that, in particular with the firefighters, we know there was that only that day was 343. That's the number that we all know. And since that time, many have passed away under just the illnesses. Chief Myers and Johnson, we all know from things that they suffered from, and as well as the law enforcement. So the numbers grow. But just in particular for that is 343. And I found out from law enforcement, the update was like 72 to 75 and climbing. And that among those, as we all know, not because it was on the East Coast, but we do know that generations go into the same line of firefighting, of police, especially in New York, New Jersey area. And with that, 4 sets of brothers, 3 sets of cousins, a father and a son all died in the same day on September the 11th, 2001, while they tried to selflessly save the lives of others at the World Trade Center. And the New York Fire Patrol lost 23, as well as the Port Authority officers. I think there was 37 Port Authority officers. So in that, they had a memorial, if anybody's been there. And when you go to the law enforcement and you go to the, with the firefighters, I had a friend on ladder 3. And then with that, it pictures, so a lot of these people lost generations. But the interesting fact is that the other family members have picked up and want to serve. So that was reassuring, as most of us saw yesterday on the 60 Minutes. They are many generations of grandchildren that really never even met the loved ones that they lost on 9/11, but they want to serve as law enforcement and they want to serve as proudly as firefighters on that day. So, and of course, we all know there was others, our steel workers, so many heroes that came out of that day. And the great thing, like was said in that proclamation, the nation came together. And I do hope and pray that that in itself is something we don't have to wait for another 9/11. But I do know that you sacrifice every day and that uniform chose you. Those are the things I remember at a San Jose funeral of 2 police officers. And I do believe that in police, and I believe that in fire. You didn't choose it, it chose you. And that to me means everything. So when you get out there with your families for the sacrifice, and I hope everyone is able to visit such a memorial in New York, because it is quite moving, and we need to never forget, not just today, but every day as we walk out that door. Because the night before they got up, they were having their coffee with their family, saying they were leaving their goodbyes. Some never had a chance to say goodbye. And I know that when that tower went down in Tower 2, and they kept making that call, no answer, no answer. Asking for command, no answer, no answer. They all knew it, but they stayed there because they knew they were trapped. There were people trapped. They weren't leaving. And they knew they were never seeing their families again. So when we say sacrifice, I don't even know if that's the word. But we are here today, and as we move forward together, let's hope and pray. Not only we'll never forget but we have to remember the numbers, and we have to remember at the Pentagon and everywhere else that freedom is not free, but God bless America. And we need to come together and be one. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much, and God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, Dr. Rod.
I still remember that morning as well. My first job was an upward bound counselor, helping students trying to get to college, first generation kids. And I remember making that, waking up in the morning, my roommate was like, yo, we're under attack. I was like, no way. Turn on the TV, and what my colleagues stated, we saw the first tower, and then the second tower, and I proceeded to go to work. And then when I got to the high schools, they were like, it's time to go. We need to have some sort of grieving process. There's things that are happening. So I went home, and while I was going home, right before I was about to leave, I call my girlfriend, who is my wife now, and she was the hate crimes educator for the Asia Pacific American Legal Center at the time. And call after call after call for a whole week. When we say Patriot Day, we also have to, when they say come together, we have to put into practice, because many people of Middle Eastern descent, even though they had no connection with 9/11, but just because the way they look, they were targeted. From young kids playing on the playground to older folks roller skating, rollerblading on tennis courts in Orange County, were pummeled, were beaten. And we also can't forget that us as public officials, our words have power. Our words have some sort of accountability. And so when our former president said, when you are with us or against us, I get what he was trying to say, but it also served as a place for people to get hurt. And so when we talk about the backlash of 9/11, us as public officials have the responsibility to understand history. We can't just scapegoat people because they look like the people that have put out these terrorist acts, or cast stereotypes on people because they have real life ramifications. And so just like how Japanese Americans were scapegoated in World War II, how Asian Americans were scapegoated for COVID-19, how Middle Eastern folks were targeted after 9/11, please not forget that it's important to understand that we can't have blanket statements, that people that are in power have very, very long-lasting words that can have the ability to conjure people to do something violently. And so I speak from that counter story. And so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rod. Mr. Sylvester.
I'd like to first, I always try to give a little bit of experience to add to a statement that I'm always going to make. And my experience, I'm going to start off is with Acting Chief Christensen. You said back at 9/11, you had just entered the academy. I didn't know you were such a baby.
Oh,
But I'm glad you're here, because the commonality I would find is 6 months prior to you entering the academy, I had just retired from law enforcement. So I find that amazing. But you've all heard the term before, whenever there's a tragic incident or something happens, and you can definitely see the videos of post 911 or while it was going on, folks were running away. What was police and fire doing? They were running towards. And not only because of fires or tragic events such as that is the common nature of our public safety. They always run towards the danger where other folks are always running away. It makes no difference as to race, color, creed, or sex, because when you're dealing with public safety, you are not in control. Anyone can commit a crime. And the mere fact of having such first responders such as yourselves not only reverberates what happened in New York, but it reverberates throughout the United States and this great nation. So my hat is off to you folks for what you continue to do day in and day out. Thank you, and thank you so much for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sylvester. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, everybody, for your service. All right, let's move on to proclamation number 2, which is about Suicide Prevention Month. And here to do that proclamation is Dr. Rod. Go ahead, Doctor.
So September is Suicide Prevention Month, and here's the proclamation. Whereas Daly City will join the county, state, and country in honoring Suicide Prevention Month, September, National Suicide Prevention, September 10th through the 16th, and World Suicide Prevention Day, September 10th, to spread the message that suicide can be prevented. And whereas in 2022, 67 people died by suicide in San Mateo County, and 13,525 calls were received by the San Mateo County Crisis Line, run by Star Vista Crisis Center. And whereas the San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Office of Diversity and Equity, Mayor's Mental Health Initiative, and partners are collectively organizing activities that our community can participate throughout September Suicide Prevention Month, including free in-person and virtual events, advocacy days, and communication campaigns with ongoing updates posted at www.smchealth.org/SPM. And whereas Daly City residents are urged to play a role in supporting each other and preventing suicide by knowing the signs of suicide, finding the words to communicate, and reaching out to local 24/7 resources, including our local San Mateo County Star Vista Crisis Hotline at 650-579-0350, or National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 988 or 1-800-273-TALK. And whereas residents can also play a role in suicide prevention by supporting local Suicide Prevention Month events, advocacy days, and communication campaign. Across the city, county, and state, the 2023 September Suicide Prevention Month theme is Share Hope Together. Whereas beyond September, Daly City has joined the San Mateo County Mayor's Mental Health Initiative, where mayors across 20 cities in San Mateo County have come together with the mission of promoting awareness of and access to mental health resources in their communities. Now, therefore, Mayor Ray Buenaventura do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Suicide Prevention Month, and call upon everyone in our community to find their role in suicide prevention. Signed and sealed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Daly City, this 11th day of September 2023.
Accepting the proclamation will be Sherry Bowles of the San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. Would you join up front with her? Take a picture. Take a picture. Thank you for being here, Ms. Bowles. Could you please go ahead and have a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Good evening, Mayor Buenaventura, Vice Mayor Manalo, and council members Di Giovanni, Sylvester, and Dr. Rod. My name is Sherry Bowles, and I'm a volunteer with the San Mateo County's Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Office of Diversity and Equity. Thank you very much for joining the county and nearly all your neighboring cities and towns to proclaim September as Suicide Prevention Month. I am honored to accept your proclamation on behalf of the county's Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Office. I encourage you and Daly City residents to promote this year's theme, Share Hope Together. The act of sharing, whether it's through sharing stories, your time, resources, or your experiences, can serve as a powerful tool in suicide prevention. I'm sharing hope today by wearing purple and teal, the national colors of Suicide Prevention Month, and using this year's theme as a Zoom background on my laptop, which can be found on the county's website. I also have the purple ribbons for all of you, too. Other ways to share hope together are to attend free in-person or virtual events hosted by the county and our community partners. Together, we can share hope by knowing the signs of suicide, finding the words by checking in with someone we are concerned about, and sharing resources, including the San Mateo County Star Vista Crisis Hotline, which is 650-579-0350, 988, which is the newish three-digit National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and the county's website at smchealth.org/SPM. Thank you again for recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Month in Daly City.
Thank you, Ms. Bowles. I'm sure we have some comments, maybe some questions for you. So if you could stand by, Ms. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the work you do for our county. We know that over the course of the pandemic, that the support towards mental health support is so necessary.
Absolutely.
And awareness is always the number one thing that we need to do, and really any opportunity to really demystify that asking for help is something that is wrong, or and that it's okay to ask for help. And I think that we've seen the statistics, and now more than ever do we need that to share and do that support for one another. And so just want to commend you and the county's work on that, and definitely will continue to be a partner and advocate to ensure that we destigmatize mental health, as far as making sure that all of us need to support one another. And it can be any one of us that may have a moment of depression, and that all they need is that support. Yeah. So
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Beautifully said.
thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Rod.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do. Big shout outs to the high schools right now. I know both Jefferson High School and Westmore High School, they're both their ASBs have been pushing mental health and suicide prevention campaigns. I know for one, because my daughter is at home right now making big giant posters talking about suicide prevention. And I wish there were words like mental health, or to confront anxiety and depression 25, 26 years ago when I was a teen. Because nowadays it's like we've now came to a point where we have language that is where people are able to express freely on how they feel. And to talk about the theme of sharing hope, like we also have to be the hope that we want to be. And hope can be just hope, but it's a promise that has to be fulfilled through action. And so I'm just, as a person in my my platform, let's be the hope that we want. We want a healthy society. We want people that are well. We want people that have a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, and honestly, a sense of where people can love themselves and love each other. So thank you.
Dr. Rob, thank you. Thank you to your daughter and her classmates, too. That's awesome.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones. Go ahead.
Well, I know that you say it so humbly when you got up to the podium. I know you do a lot of work, and you do it with passion. And I think that when you come from a place, when you're in something that is pretty serious, but you know that you can save lives, right? You can hope you can get to them in time. And for most of us, and I know that Dr. Rod, not sure about my other colleagues, but we've had personal people in our lives that we've lost to suicide. And sometimes when they're at a point and the darkness is there, whatever they're in, you think that you can see it, but then you ask, and were there any signs or or whatever. And I know that's being worked on as well, because it gives us who want to be observant tools, and hopefully would try to see something to let them know that they have a safe space, a conversation, begin that, to be culturally sensitive, which you have provided that, which is great. And I've heard that even great things about the calls, that with languages and the tone. I've known people that have called the number, and that it has already made a difference. And then, because I know it probably takes a lot for someone that's in that space to make that call. So that is a big step. And to Dr. Rod and your daughter, and knowing that that's at a high school, that's a huge step, because the teenagers, all ages suffer. And then people have different things in their life. But that in itself, she can be the mentor. She can be the voice for the next young lady, young man, or whatever, because they're peers. So it'll be a peer-to-peer. So thank you to all of them at the county, and what you do is incredible. I know that I've heard people speak about you, and that says volumes, and that hard work, good work, personal work, and not easy, but important. And these days and times, it seems like, is the numbers getting more because of COVID, or are people able to come out more? But I do know that we provide enough services, more than we did before, and that being able to fund it. So thank you very much for being here. And from the bottom of my heart, if there's anything that any of us can do, I don't know about training or want to know the signs, and sometimes there's not any signs, those are the things that are kind of heartbreaking, when you hear that someone has gotten to that step and had thought there was no hope or no one there for them. So thank you very much, and blessings to you, and may you have the strength to continue, because we need you. Thank you, and take care of yourself.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilmember
Thank you,
Chief.
Mayor.
You had mentioned trainings. Encourage you to visit the county's website. Because, there are trainings that are currently offered, virtual, and then they're also offering them
Right.
in person at the different libraries throughout the communities.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mr. Sylvester.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Bowles, thank you so much for appearing tonight to accept a proclamation. And again, I'm going by experience. 20 years ago, we didn't have this awareness, and it was definitely an issue. And training is very, very important. Not training just to know the signs, but training to understand external forces that may be at play. I was a peer counselor in law enforcement, and there's been suicides by law enforcement. Well, that's a classic example of the occupation. What caused that? And subsequently becoming a peer counselor, you come to understand. And if there's anything that I can remember, that whenever I would provide counseling to another officer, is one saying, and basically everybody should say that to a good friend that they have. If you're contemplating suicide, I ask you to make me a promise. Would you at least call me? That's all you have to do. Ask them that. There are all different types of suicide. Where somebody just takes their life, did they mean to take it? For instance, suicide by cop, where someone will go out and entice a police officer to take their life. And, suicide runs the gamut of so many things. And if I can leave something with all of you, and I always loved this slogan, and now I kind of remember where it came from. You are not alone. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, Councilmember Sylvester, thank you. I'm going to leave this with the city clerk.
I just have one final comment, if I may. And I mean, actually, it's a question. You know, you and several members on the council talked about signs of suicide. Just for the general public, could you outline some of the signs that we need to look for, be aware of?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's an excellent question. Each person is unique, and so it's hard to really limit the number of signs. Many times people will say the happiest people are the ones who will go home and contemplate suicide. So, as all of you had mentioned, it's good to check up on your friends, those who may be feeling different. Maybe they suffered a loss, whether it's a family, a friend, a job, something significant. You see that maybe they're acting a little bit different, or maybe secluding themselves. To always reach out. I love Councilmember Sylvester's approach, saying, "Please call me." Many times, it's good to know that you have a friend who is counting on you, and that you're not alone.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Bowl.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, our next proclamation is Recovery Happens Month. And accepting that proclamation is Greg Thompson and Veronica Antonelli of Voices of Recovery of San Mateo County. Here to present the proclamation is Vice Mayor Jocelyn Manalo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This proclamation is Recovery Happens Month. Whereas the month of September 2023 is National Recovery Month. And whereas National Recovery Month spreads the positive message that behavioral health is essential to overall health. And whereas Recovery Happens Month is supported and celebrated in Daly City and promotes the importance of prevention, treatment, and recovery. And in this spirit, this year's theme is Recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, and every community. Whereas treatment and prevention providers across the communities of San Mateo County have dedicated themselves to promoting recovery, saving lives, destigmatizing and educating the public about substance abuse, use, and co-occurring disorders. And whereas every day in Daly City, men, women, youth enter treatment for substance use and mental health disorders and begin the road to wellness and in recovery in a system which emphasizes behavioral health as an essential part of overall health. And whereas the San Mateo County continues to support Recovery Month's mission to improve the lives of those living with these disorders, to celebrate individuals in recovery, and to acknowledge those working to provide integrative recovery services. And whereas prevention works, treatment is effective, and recovery is possible. And whereas people can and do recover, now therefore Mayor Ray Bonaventura and hereby proclaims September 2023 as Recovery Happens Month and encourages everyone to remember that while the road to recovery may be difficult, the benefits of preventing and overcoming substance use and co-occurring disorders are significant and valuable to individuals, families, and communities. Let us remember there are multiple pathways to recover, and let us remember everyone's journey results in their own unique experience of recovery. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Greg Thompson, and I'm joined here by Veronica Antonelli. We are here from Voices of Recovery, San Mateo County, and we are both in long-term recovery from substance use challenges. We would like to thank the mayor, the vice mayor, and the council members of Daly City on behalf of Voices of Recovery and the Recovery Happens Committee for joining us to proclaim that September is Recovery Happens Month.
National Recovery Month started in 1989 and is held every September to promote and support the nation's strong and proud recovery community new evidence-based treatment practices, and the dedication of service providers and communities who make recovery in all its forms possible. Voices of Recovery, in collaboration with county members, San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, and the Office of Diversity and Equity, come together each year to increase public awareness surrounding substance use and mental health recovery. Over the course of the month of September, hundreds of people in the county will gather together and help reduce the stigma of substance use and mental health challenges, and celebrate the accomplishments of those successfully entering recovery and beginning fulfilling lives. Not only in San Mateo County, but the recovery programs all over the country will raise awareness about recovery and share the positive stories of transformed lives.
Thank you again for your amazing proclamation that September is Recovery Happens Month in 2023. We encourage you to promote our theme, Recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, and every community. We hope you will continue to support our events throughout the month of September. Our next one is actually tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in Redwood City. We'll be having our annual recovery breakfast at Mezzies Park, followed by the Walk of Hope, and then the County Board of Supervisors proclamation, and we'll have a resource fair outside of the Redwood City Courthouse. And we have some flyers for you guys. I guess we'll leave with you when we're done. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So if you could stand by, I think we have some comments and questions for you. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say it's extremely amazing that the recovery and the courage and just being able to be the promoters of that it can happen and recovery can happen, and to destigmatize it. And it's for everyone. You are all inspirations to me, and I just want to thank you for both of you. You have inspired me this evening, and for this to be one of the last proclamations, thank you for being here, and thank you for being the voice for others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Dr. Rod?
I just want to say thank you for all the work that you all do. In a past job that I had, I used to be a drug educator for youth, and also having family members that are battling through recovery. And I know we're saying like it's recovery month, but it's every second of every day. And much props to those families that are and close friends that are helping loved ones that are going through this, because it's already hard to shoulder enough on an individual level, but when you have family members that are there on the everyday, witnessing sometimes pitfalls and getting re-triggered on different things, it's hard. And family members would always have to remember like the why, like why are you doing what you're doing, and it's a battle, but it is possible. I've had family members that are recovering addicts, and some that are still in recovery, trying to battle through the everyday. And it's not just an individual shoulder or burden. It's like our whole community to help everybody out. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Rod. Mr. Sylvester, go ahead.
Hi. You ever see that commercial where the guy, he's bald, and all of a sudden he has a lot of hair, and he says, "I'm not a user, but I'm a client"? You ever see? Well, I'm not a client, but but it really means a lot to see you folks appear here before us, because you folks are actually actual clients, and we can see the success of the program. And I see that it is peer-led, so you talk to each other, and I guess you share your story. And I see Ms. Bowles kind of like nodding her head. Do you know these folks? I'm sorry? I do. I'm very proud of them. Oh, okay. Because the reason why I bring that up, this is why I love San Mateo so much than other cities. I see that you folks are supported by the San Mateo behavioral health. And Ms. Bowles, I remember you saying that you were a part of that. You're also supported by San Mateo Health System. And you're also supported by Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. And that's what's good about San Mateo, because they look for all sorts of resources to address the various issues that exist throughout our county. And tonight is an exemplar as to creating the awareness of VORMCS,
SMC.
SMC exist. So thank you for what you do. Continue the great example for others to follow, and I'm very, very proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Giovanni, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Well, it's great to see that smile on your face up there at the podium. Welcome here in Daly City. And then I like to hear this because a few years ago, I guess really wasn't that long, my friend's son had been struggling as well. And then we found out it was so expensive, right? That was the thing that was such a barrier for a lot of his friends, himself. I think that his started with prescription drugs and then from surgery, and then it went into other things without getting into too much of it. I mean, he did recover, but the parents had to go out and take loans out to get him into recovery. And then they did find the place, but I don't want that to be a barrier. And I'm sure that's what you guys are working on as well, right? We should not have barriers for people. You know, we want to open the doors and that's what you provide, so that there is a affordability factor. Because I was shocked when I heard about some of the things that was so expensive, and I'm thinking, why? These people need help, and he was in and out of the I think an emergency room quite a few times and I would go over there with her, and heartbreaking because she wants to do everything you can for your loved one, but when money becomes a barrier, that's so wrong. That's wrong of our society to do that. So now it appears that those things have been worked out, and you have enough in the funding, I hope, and you working with her, that this can all be like pieces put together and then if people go back or whatever, that safety net is there, right? You can't just get recovery and then not have any other viable resources. People need all parts of it, whether it be jobs or every housing or what have you. We need to take picture of a whole, right? A whole picture of a human being. We don't know not to sit in judgment of how someone walk a walk, right? So to be here to get rid of the stigma and then already know the success that you're providing, and when is the Walk of Hope?
Tomorrow morning.
The Walk of Hope is tomorrow morning? Oh, my goodness.
But we also have the picnic coming up on September 20th. We also have a recovery dance on the 30th.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of activities that we can support, right? So, and we can tell more people about it. But the passion, the life, the love, and to see you here, and what works and what works for everyone. So when you live that life, and wish you the best, and that we should be here supporting 100 million% of whatever you need and treating the whole person, right? Because you matter. Everyone matters. And it does affect families. It affects everyone. So, but there's always hope. And here we are tonight, and a light actually shines on top of you guys. I don't know if it's our lighting, but it's a beautiful thing to see. So thank you so much, and I wish you the very best. And I see that Ms. Bowles is just beaming over here. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Giovanni. Thank you both for coming here. We appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Grab some and pass it to Pam. Okay, so let's move on to item number 4, which is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 14, 2023.
Motion to approve minutes of August 14, 2023.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. Let me go on to the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, the agenda is now approved. Public appearances, oral communications. I have one speaker card, and let me call up Del Shambari. Del, why don't you come on up? You have 2 minutes. Is there any more left?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pam, is there any more left?
The pen?
Any more pins?
The pen?
Did you get one? Go ahead.
All set
go
for
ahead.
me? Okay, thank you. Del Shambari. I usually see me representing or working with San Bruno Mountain Watch. But the reason why I'm here tonight is just to go over a flawed process that I agreed to initially in approving the Hilldale School expansion park expansion, not the schoolroom expansion, the park expansion. So what happened was I saw the thing coming to the planning commission, and I talked to the planner, and he said we're going to put a park on the Daly City Dunes, which you all been up there with me, most of you anyway. And I said you can't, in that particular area, I know it very well. You can't build there because it's home to the federally listed endangered Licentia plant. And I let our director know. And so after the director talked to the planner, he agreed that there was a federally listed plants up there. But the Mountain Watch proposed, well, look, we'll do a site plan for you so you don't build on the Licentia. The problem with that is as soon as you find out there's a federally listed species under the California Environmental Quality Act, you're supposed to do an environmental review. And it's and that wasn't done, and I supported it at first. So I'm just doing this. I'm not, well, if I am criticizing somebody, I'm criticizing myself because I went for it too. But I'm just trying to prevent in the future this happening again. If there are federally listed plants, a SEQA review, in my understanding, has to be done. And that's why I came tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Del.
Thanks for listening.
Appreciate you letting us know. Okay, let's go on to the consent agenda. If there are any items on the consent that any council member would like to pull, please let me know now. Anyone? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, the consent is approved. Moving on to item number 20, which is the award of contract as the sole source for Reservoir 6B emergency seismic and roof repairs. Mr. Cosgrove.
No.
Hello? Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. I am here tonight with Greg Kraus, Chief of Operations, to present this item, Reservoir 6B Emergency Seismic and Roof Repairs. These are hard copies of the PowerPoint that'll be on the TV in case you would like to follow along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have
Okay, we're good,
Okay,
Greg.
so a little bit of background on this tank. It is located, we call it Reservoir 6B, and it's located at the end of Nelson Court. It serves a few thousand customers with drinking water and fire protection, and this picture hopefully can kind of orient you on where this is at. You see the blue arrow pointing to it. You have right below it, Skyline Elementary, King Plaza is right below it. And you can see the number of homes and businesses that this tank is serving. Now, during one of the severe storms in March, the roof of this tank was blown apart. And this video will hopefully, if I can play it, you might need to play it from there. Yes, hope to kind of give you the extent of the damage that occurred. So you can see a lot of open space on the side. That's part of the roof that blew and landed on the other side of the tank. It's a very brief video, but just I thought it kind of might help a little bit. And then these are just some pictures of the damage, some still photos. You can see that it was very extensive damage. You can see the water is still in the tank at this time. We did isolate the tank immediately when this happened, and so there was no contamination of the public water system. Fortunately, thanks to Chief of Operations Greg Krause and his operations crew that responded immediately. Again, more pictures of the damage. And this is the tank empty now, and you can again see the extent of the damage. As mentioned, the tank was isolated when this happened, and we were very fortunate that we had backup systems that we were able to open valves and provide drinking water and fire protection to the homes and businesses that this tank normally serves. Those backup systems worked. Unfortunately, we are on backup systems now, which is kind of the reason for the emergency nature of this project. A little bit also about the process of how we got here. We really needed to obviously deal with this issue right away. And so we contacted DN Tanks, which is a contractor that does roof repairs and does seismic work to these type of concrete tanks. They were actually one of the builders of the tank back in 1966 when the tank was constructed. They had a different name at the time, but it was this company, DN Tanks. So they were also able to immediately begin an evaluation, engineering evaluation for us. And so we began that process, and they're also able to begin a design build repair project immediately once approval it happens. So the attached proposal that was provided as part of the staff report, it goes through the different repairs that would take place on this tank if approved. The cost is $2,044,100 to seismically upgrade the tank and the roof. And this is a picture of what the new roof would look like. As you can see from the pictures, the old roof that was damaged was a wood type roof, and the new one would be an aluminum type. That's the recommendation from the engineers. And so that's kind of what the roof would look like. It's a lower profile, and the one difference from the roof that we are seeking to build is there would be a finish that would go over that roof so that it doesn't glare, doesn't have a glare that comes off of it. So that's part of this project also. And that is just very brief presentation, and Greg and I are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cosgrove. Any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove, for your presentation. Did this come before council before, that this was coming? I seem to remember pictures, and we discussed this.
Yes, when we were discussing the water rates, I did have pictures of the damage from this tank,
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha. All right. And do you remember what we paid 57 years ago for this?
No, I do not have that number, no.
All right, so taking into effect the estimated $2,044,100, and if we divide that over 57 years, to which I know this will probably last longer, we have to put aside at least $35,861 a year, just as a note. Do we have enough in CIP to absorb this?
Yes, fortunately, in our fund balance, which is what we're requesting to take it from, we have a little over $18 million.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, other questions or comments? Hearing
I have
none.
just one
Go ahead,
comment.
Dr.
So
Rod.
is this, do we have to, it's just the roof that is going to be replaced, or is it like the whole tank? Is the whole tanker like made out of wood,
The
or
whole-
just the roof?
Just the roof is wood.
Okay.
The tank itself is concrete.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
part of this project is to do some reinforcements, some seismic upgrades to that concrete. It's in good shape. The report that was done showed that it's in good shape, but it was built in 1966, so it's not up to current seismic standards. So we're taking the opportunity now to bring it up
Got
to
it.
current seismic standards along with the new roof.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none. Oh, do you have, go ahead, Ms. Vice Mayor.
So it says that we're going sole source, but did we go through a bidding process?
No, we are requesting the sole source purchase because of the emergency nature. Bid process would add 3-4 months to the process. So, and really, there's very few contractors that do this type of work. So we're very fortunate that DN Tanks is able to immediately begin this. They probably would have been the contractor anyways. But because of the emergency nature, we really need to get this tank back in service as soon as possible, and that's what we're recommending.
Thank you. Just want to understand, like, we usually don't go sole source, but I understand it's because it's an immediate need.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion to adopt resolution.
Second?
All right, can we get a roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Yes.
Ms. Manalo,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Mr. Buenaventura.
Thank you.
Aye. All right, thank you. I know you're here on the next item as well, which is the award of contract. Oh, do we have to do that?
Oh, another one?
Oh, yeah, award of sole contract as sole source for well 4 pump placement. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. This is another item from the Water Department. Mike Patolo will join me up here to help me present another brief presentation. So this is requesting to replace the pump and the column piping that is part of well number 4, which is coincidentally located right near here. It is across the street from City Hall, underground on 90th Street. So if you can see from that Google view, City Hall right there kind of in the center and just to the north, yes. The well, when it's in service, it could provide up to approximately 500,000 gallons per day of drinking water. The well was not working, as you can read in the staff report, so we hired a contractor to lift the well and the piping and to see what was going on. And as you can see, it was in very poor shape. It's an old well, and unfortunately, over time, this is what happens. The pump and the piping that we're requesting and proposing to use would be much better material than what was used back when this well was originally installed. But as you can see, that's the reason why it needs to be replaced. This is an example of the type of pump that we are requesting to purchase. It's called the Byron Jackson type well, submersible well pump. This is a picture of one that we installed a couple of years ago. It would look almost exactly like this, except the one we're proposing for this site is a little bit bigger. It has a little bit more gallons per minute than the one you see there. But the one we're seeking authority to purchase would provide approximately 500 gallons per minute. And this is the stainless steel column piping, so much better material than what was originally purchased, will last much longer than what the existing well, how long the existing well lasted. We need to purchase approximately 420 feet of it. That's about how deep the pump is. Again, also, this is also searching or requesting the sole source this purchase. The reason for this sole source is because we have standardized to Byron Jackson type submersible wells. So the standardization process for equipment helps us and kind of makes a more streamlined process, a more efficient process when purchasing equipment. And so quite a few years ago, we determined that the best type of submersible well pump was this type of Byron Jackson type. So all of our pumps that we have been purchasing have been the Byron Jackson type. We're able to have, the inventory in place in case we need to do repairs, and it makes a more streamlined, efficient process for these type of wells when you standardize. So that's what we're requesting also.
All right.
And I thank you very much. That's our presentation.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments? Mr. Sylvester, go ahead.
Thank you again. I get the idea and why you want the Byron Jackson pump. And the thing that stuck out in my mind is you have parts for it. So why reinvent the wheel? So I think that's a good aspect. The only question I have is, any reason why we don't use copper instead of aluminum?
This would be stainless steel.
Right.
And so copper is pretty flexible, if you will. So the stainless steel is much strong. When it's at that depth and you're pumping the amount of water that you're pumping from there, you need a strong material like stainless or some other type of steel. So that's the reason why.
So depth.
And the amount of flow going through it, yes.
And just for information only, this might be a little bit off subject. So when a new developer, when they build property, what pipes do they use underneath for water and or sewage?
For water in the houses, it's usually copper.
Copper,
Yes.
gotcha.
That's copper. In the streets, ductile iron or even strong plastic is sometimes used in the street
Okay.
for the public water system.
So hardly ever copper, but just generally copper in the homes.
Yes.
Because of, I guess, better for pressure and less corrosion.
Yes, it's much easier. Copper is much easier to use when it's a smaller diameter type pipe.
That's a
So
good point.
that's why copper is used a lot. But copper is quite expensive these days also.
That too.
So,
All right.
yes.
We'll learn something new all the time. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Dr. Rod?
How long has well number 4 been inoperable?
Inoperable?
Yeah.
It's been, I'm not sure exactly how long, but it's been 3 or 4 years at least. Yes, it's been a little while.
Gotcha. And then what's the I guess the longevity of this new pump? How long do they usually last? Like
25 to 30 years is
Okay.
about what we'll get for these pumps. Yeah, depending
Gotcha.
on how much we use it.
okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Go ahead,
Just a quick,
Giovanni.
just out of curiosity, because I find it interesting and great that we're doing this, and thank you very much. Great presentation on the corroded. So this will give us an asset, right, to get this well going again, and how will that benefit our community? I think this is great.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that question. Yeah, our own water supply
Yeah.
for drinking water for our citizens is, I'm not going to use the word priceless, right? Because there is a price to it. But when we purchase water from other entities like San Francisco, it's quite expensive at times. And so while there's an upfront cost that, as you can see, $286,000 to do this, over time, as this pump produces water, 500,000 per day, if it meets that amount, that water is very minimal cost as it's
Right.
pumped out of the ground, because basically you're just paying for the electricity to pull it out of the ground. So it's a great cost savings to the citizens here, the ratepayer, and it's also a great investment of their money into our water system.
Yeah, thank you for putting this on the agenda. Looking forward to it. And it is great that we can have our own, whatever we can do, right, to that. So thank you for the foresight and looking into this and doing this. Appreciate it. To you and your staff. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Yes.
Ms. Manalo,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Mr. Buenaventura.
Aye. All right, thank you, and thank you to your team. Let's go on to appointments, board, commission, membership, committee appointments. Are there any? Hearing none.
I do have.
Oh, you do?
one.
Go ahead.
Let me where's my? Uh-oh. Just want to make sure I have the correct. One moment.
No problem, take your time.
Yes, I would like to appoint and nominate John Penasaranda, I want to say the name correctly, that's to the Small Business Commission.
Could you say the last name again?
It is John Penasarada,
Pin-
Can you spell?
Penacerrada.
Okay. Can I get a motion? That's your motion. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I get a motion to, okay, can I get a, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, he is now approved.
Thank you.
Any other board commission membership committee appointments? Hearing none? All right, let's go on to reports. Under council committee reports, any council committee reports? Go ahead, Dr. Rod.
On August 24th, I attended the Peninsula Clean Energy meeting. I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights. I think last time I reported there were excess funds that will be expected out of Peninsula Clean Energy over the next couple of years. And so they're going to have an excess funds committee to decide on what to do with these excess funds. And these excess funds can go to additional programming. They can go to different outreach, community outreach actions. But they're putting together a committee, and we'll see what happens with that. Another thing that we discussed was the approval of local government building electrification program. And shortly, they'll have an RFP, a request for proposals, on providing municipalities some funding to electrify some of our buildings. And so, I just want to put in the ear of our staff to look out for these different opportunities to hopefully maybe electrify our city government or any of our buildings that are our government-owned buildings, and they should be coming around the corner. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rod. Any other council committee reports? Hearing none, let's go on to city council reports. Any city council reports? You want?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You sure? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Just in short, I just wanted to say that this is the second annual, I believe it was, the DCPLA Art and Lit, fabulous. There's other words, but fabulous, fantastic event and ceremony with Miss Denise, Miss Shayla, and all our community groups, our library, our recreation, community organizations, entertainment. The entertainment, I could not believe it, because when you first arrive, you get mesmerized because they had groups from like the Indian culture. They had a duet from Madrid, Spain. The music was just incredible. And then you get to go to explore each booth. That in itself is a great adventure because you have people that have done these great, like you have youth and empowerment and government. You from everything from, and then an artist originally from Daly City. He's on the stage and he's doing the artwork in 30 minutes. And I mean, we have so much in Daly City that we don't need to go out anywhere. And the librarians and her rec staff and people were making comments, Miss Denise, about how professional your videographers were and are. And it was incredible. DCPLA had a table, a lot of high energy. I think in Kalima's, they call her kiddos, were there, Hareem, and he created these great mobile units. So there was something for everybody. Everybody you can think of, which is inclusive. So you really feel a lot of great activity. And I thought to myself, wow, to see a mall, which has been for a long time, Serramonte is the center It's the center of our community. And it has really, really developed so many beautiful things that was a great event. Looking forward to the next one and thank everybody for all their hard work. Victoria, Patricia, I mean, there were so many people working on it, all the volunteers. Bernie was there, volunteer JESD, Clayton Koo. I mean, people stepped up and volunteered. A lot of activity. It was wonderful. So then also, I believe that, I'm sure the council member Sylvester will be speaking this on his own. And, along with our city manager, our acting chief, and some of our firefighters, we were very humbled to have an opening prayer at the Lawson Hall, and thanked our city manager because he had worked with them to redo their contract so well. And that actually, I thought it was pretty fast, Mr. Piccolotti, considering the COVID and having to come in and adjust everything. It turned out really nice and it was very simple, like it should be, quiet with Pacific Island members, prayers with pastors, and of course, food. You know, you can't go without the food. And so I want to thank Miss Raina, Ms. Teresa Farpua, all the pit members, Ken and Miss Ruthie and all of them, because that's what community is. And so with that, I yield to any other, Mr. Mayor. That's,
Thank you.
it was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giovanni. Any other city council reports? Go ahead, Dr. Wright.
I was also at the DCPLA Art and Literature event. Well done. Shout outs to DCPLA for putting together a marvelous event.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny walking every 5 feet, and it's like my son was like, "Can we go? Can we go?" Because people wanted to like talk to me, and it was like seeing current and former students at booths doing DJing, turntablism, to seeing Nancy Rodriguez, one of our Arts and Culture Commission commissioners, reading story time. And I think it's one way to engage our community and also provide some sort of economic stimulus, right? Because we see what's happening all across different downtowns, and a lot of places are kind of ghost towns, but when you go to Sermoni, it's happening. And it's bringing people more than just going shopping, but also provide a captured audience on who DCPLA is and what our libraries are about, what our rec is about, what our community orgs that we work with. So I think it was a marvelous event. I also want to announce the opening reception for the Arts and Culture Commission event tomorrow, which will feature Carlos Kuki Gonzalez and his mural, which I saw upstairs. Wow, you could see it from when you enter City Hall. It's a beautiful mural. And one thing that I love about murals is that sometimes you don't need a text, like a literally like word text to understand or explore history. Sometimes you need to see visuals, and these visuals give context and faces to history. And also that will be there tomorrow will be Luna Press, Archipelago Books, and Nichols Elements in the Octagon Gallery. So hope to see folks there.
Thank you, Dr. Rod. Okay, any other city council reports? Mr. Sylvester, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to concur with Councilmember Di Giovanni in the sense of attending the prayer ceremony for Pacific Islanders Together. Apparently, it's been a long time, and I was happy to have been invited and to attend, along with our police officers and fire representatives out there, who has always given support to Pacific Islanders Together, so that was very good. Another meeting I went to was the seniors meeting, to which I have been remiss and have, I think it's almost 2 years, maybe a year. And it was a surprise to meet with Ms. Reezy and all the seniors. This was the first meeting since the passing of our community advocate, Cecil Owens. But it was great to be a part. The group has grown. And one thing I learned, which I didn't know about Opal, is that Parks and Rec? She Parks and Rec? Okay, Denise. I never knew the work that she does. I'm familiar with the congregate program, to which I think ever since I've been on council, I've been there twice. And, you know, I don't go there just for the food, but it was one of the deciding factors why I showed up. But it was good. But I learned that she now cooks for 4 different centers throughout Daly City. And one of them is for the seniors. And, I'm just in awe. So again, I said earlier during this meeting, I'm very proud to be part of San Mateo, but I'm even more proud to be a part of Daly City. So thank you for everything that you folks do. Thank you.
Councilmember Sylvester, what about that salmon burgers?
The what?
We had those salmon burgers.
Well, I mean, I'm sure every day is a different menu, so
Delicious.
thank you.
Okay, Madam Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that I am so happy for Pacific Islanders Together. I remember when Raina reached out to me, and this was when I was mayor, around having a permanent place for PIT. And to see it come, I was not there, I was out of the country, in the island of the Philippines. But PIT deserves a home, and was definitely ecstatic that they had their prayer ceremony. I was there in spirit, and extended my sincere congratulations through Reina that day. I just wanted to share with the community and the city council that I applied and was chosen among 15 Filipino American young leaders across the United States in an immersion program in the Philippines. In that program, I was able to visit weavers, traditional weavers in Cebu, to see this old age craft firsthand. Also, I saw where the warrior Lapu-Lapu defeated Magellan. Some stories that I only heard in my childhood. And to see nonprofit organizations working with youth on the ground, very similar to what we're doing here, as well as organizations fighting against mental health. Prior to my immersion program, I paid a courtesy call to our sister city, Quezon City, who we had hosted a month before. Mayor Belmonte and Vice Mayor Soto extended their warm welcome. We talked about our passion to serve the community and good governance. I saw the Heritage House of President Manuel Quezon, who saved 1,200 Jews in the Philippines during World War II. It was definitely an experience to be in my parents' homeland, of which I am of Filipino descent, and really take the lessons with me here in the community I grew up in Daly City. I want to tell Mayor Buenaventura that Mayor Belmonte sends her regards to you personally and looks forward to your connection with her as well. And that is all my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. All right, I think that concludes our city council. Let me move on to staff reports. Any staff reports?
No report, sir. We're good.
I just wanted to say to Mr. Piccolotti, I know it was your birthday this weekend, so I wanted to publicly say happy birthday, Mr. Piccolotti.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
Birthday. And happy birthday to Tatum, too.
Oh, Tatum, that's right. Happy birthday to you as well.
Happy birthday.
Okay. All right. So now we're moving into the adjourn in memories. And so we have several. Let me start out with the Vice Mayor. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to adjourn in memory. It's my close high school friend's husband and a long-term time community member in our community, David Barrett, who lived in the Franciscan. And I just want to share with you what Ying Mei had mentioned on her message to everyone. I want to let you know that my beloved husband, David Barrett, has passed away. even though he was taken from us too soon. We know how many lives David touched and impacted with his loving ways and his compassion towards others. As a son, brother, husband, stepfather, friend, and paramedic, David touched countless lives. He was a very selfless man and always helping others in the community. He was loved by so much and will be missed so much. Also, the celebration of life will be happening on Saturday, September 30th at 1 p.m., Forest Hill Christian Church, 250 Laguna Honda Boulevard in San Francisco. Sincere condolences to the Barrett family. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Let me turn it to Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Okay, thank you very much. And I just want to say that we lost someone in our community that was a pillar in the Bay Shore and beyond, Cecil Owens, who passed in his sleep, and his loving wife, Dorothy, of 58 years. He was a proud father of Janine Owens and the biggest fan of his granddaughter, Carter Ann Owens McLean, and granddog Chloe. Cecil had many second daughters as well because he was a big coach, believe it or not, in volleyball. And he had volleyball girls and daughters that he adopted. And they were Kim, Karen, Chris, Judy, Leanne, Sharon, just to name a few. We all know he was a Bayshore School board member for 42 years. No one loved his Bayshore community more than him. He served as president of the Bayshore Youth Association, and he was the founder of the Bayshore Senior Friendship Club. He spent countless hours dedicating his life to helping others and everyone in his community. There were many stories shared at his services about him, and the common thread, I think, is that if you see Cecil anywhere, he's everywhere. And he cared so much that he came in this council, and I think most of us know, he fought for that school to be rebuilt, the Robertson in Bayshore. He was here fighting for that. So he will be missed, and we love him very much. And then I asked the mayor if it would be okay that I received a text to read, if appropriate, if okay with you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'd like to acknowledge the same, if not more, that it's another words from Miss Ying May Barrett that she sent me a text. Hi, Pamela, my dear friend. I would love for us to share something about my loving son, husband, brother, stepfather to my 3 beautiful children. Yes, he was a loving paramedic for King American Ambulance for 29 years. He helped so many, many lives, always put others before him. My sweet husband is missed so much by me and his family and loved ones. Pamela, I was with him the whole time at the hospital when you had so many calls coming in. We were like yin and yang, the two of us. I held him until he took his last breath. Although he's gone too soon, I know where he's supposed to be and that God needed him more than me. So I would like to also close in condolences to beloved Ying Ming and her children, and especially his mother as well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ms. DiGiovanni. Any others? Hearing none, I'm also going to add 2 people. I'd like us to adjourn in memory of Edward Pomeroy. Edward Pomeroy was a distinguished attorney in San Mateo County for decades. He defended some of the harshest and toughest cases, and he was regarded as just an exceptional attorney, and he suddenly passed away. I'd also like to adjourn in memory of Carl Holm. Carl Holm was a judge in San Mateo County for decades, and also was known as a fair litigator, a fair judge, someone that was well respected and had a real command of the courtroom and the laws of California, and dispensed justice in a fair and impartial way. With that, I'd like us to just take a moment also to remember the victims of 9/11. And if we could just take a moment of silence for everybody that has passed and have been announced today. All right, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion to adjourn.
moved.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.